Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, the housekeeping notes. All the product I'm using and a description and all the measurements will be listed below. There's a link to my online store. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you're in the United States, I'd love to be yours. There is a link to my Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. It's a small group, but you can share your artwork and the projects you make on there. And we would love to see them. There is my email address if you'd like to find out something more about Stampin' Up! Or would like to see something made on this channel. And remember to like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video on YouTube. And this helps me grow in YouTube world. So, we're going to be playing with Share a Milkshake. Now, I used this a few weeks ago, and I borrowed this from a friend. And I do need to give it back, so I thought I wanted to play with it one more time. It is, excuse me, it was carried over from the mini catalog to the new annual catalog. And so I'm going to show you what we're going to make. We're also going to bring in one more stamp set. We're going to bring in Circle Sayings because I wanted the happy birthday from Circle Sayings. This has several things, but it does not have a happy birthday, and I wanted this to be a birthday card. So here's our little envelope, and this is our card, and it is an easel card, a centerfold easel card, and it goes just like that. Hold it up so you can see it. There's a little place to write up here, and it stands up just like that. I thought this was a really great card. It's more on the masculine side, but not totally. I mean, it could be any way you want it. So anyhow, this is what we're going to be making. I have pre-cut some pieces. I'll grab those real fast. I have pre-cut out of Smoky Slate, the ice cream bowl. 2 spoons out of Smoky Slate. I didn't stamp them, I just cut them out with the dies. I stamped out of Sweet Sorbet a straw. I cut 2 pieces of whipped cream. And I stamped in Sweet Sorbet 2 cherries. So just to help speed things along a little bit. So let's move on and let's build this card. So the first thing we need is a piece of 8.5 by 5.5, and you're going to need your trimmer for this one. And the first thing we're going to do is score at 4 1/4. Like I said, all the dimensions will be below, so you don't need to write them all down right now. So we'll score there. Then we're going to flip it around this way. And as I've told you before, I like to turn my cutting blade so I can see. I put a piece of paper right here. A little worn now, but it still works. So I can see my numbers much clearer. So you turn the machine so it works for you. This works for me really well. And we're going to cut at 1 inch. So we'll get the scoring up here and get the cutting blade up here. We're going to cut at 1 inch in from the top down to our score line, which is at 4 1/4. And I can see the 4 1/4 and my score line right there. Let me see if I can scoot this in so you can see what I'm looking at. And if you can see it there or not, I'll try to move it a little bit. So I can see the score line and I can see my 4 1/4. I'm going to cut right down to the 4 1/4. There's a little line here so you can see it really, really easy. Okay. All right, lift that up. Now I'm just going to slide it over and we're going to go on 1 inch on this side. I've tried not to move my blade because it's still sitting at 1 1/4. And we're at 1 inch on this side. And we go down. So that is that portion of our card, okay? Now we're not done yet. Take your 2 end pieces and fold them in like this. Oh, I need to scoot this back out so you can see easier. Take them, fold them in like they're going to go in your card, and set this back in the trimmer so it's down, and you can just put this piece in like this, and you want to score at 2 1/8. Oop. Make sure your cutting blade is out of the way. 2 1/8. And that is all the scoring and cutting. Now we'll burnish. I'm going to fold these in first. Now remember, these are loose, so you want to make sure they're still in place and not lined up. And then this one will fold up and give it a nice burnish. So that's the base of the card. Next, we need to start putting a few layers together. And we're going to start with the center layer that goes in here. And this is 2 3/8 by 4 inches. And this is Countryside Inn paper. And I like the blue, the stripes and stuff. It reminded me of a wallpaper. So the easiest way to do this one is just take it so you're on, it's laying the right side. So you're at the 2 3/8 at the bottom. It's 2 inches. You can score it, or I found it just easier to fold it in half and burnish. And what you're going to be doing is you're attaching this here in the center. It's got about an 1/8 inch border around it, right in there. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this is Night of Navy paper. Should have told you that. And we're just going to attach this on here, lining up the score line. So you can score it at 2 inches, or you can just fold it in half. Make sure you look blue up there. Lay it down and line up your score lines. And like that. Like I said, about an 1/8 inch here and a little more on the ends, but it works fine. Then you can pull this back and give it a little burnish again. And so that's the inside piece. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to take these 2 panels and glue them down. So I like to put the glue on this piece. Make sure I get something in the corners. And I'm not pushing, I'm dragging the glue. You've seen me do that before. And when you close it, make sure, because it's smaller, it will move. So you need to make sure that it is square when you lay it down. Because it's being loose, it can skew off just a little bit. And I'm just dragging some into the corner. I don't want my corners lifting up on me. Put this one down and make sure that you double check that you're all square. That's why I like the glue for this part. I like glue anyhow, you know that. Okay, so now we have our side panels. And we need 2 pieces, and this is Misty Moonlight. And I picked this because this was the color inside the paper. It had Night of Navy and Misty Moonlight. So this one, there's 2 of them, 7/8 by 4 1/8. And then DSP is 3/4 by 4. And there's 2 of each of those. So we're gonna do some matting here real fast. I like an easel card. Now there's something I want to try on this card that I did not do on the first card. I thought about it after I designed the card last night. And I thought, oh, I should try this. So we're going to try it on the air and see what it looks like. It may not work, but you know, experimentation is half the fun. So we will find out together. I'll show you what that is in a few minutes, because it's the last thing you will do on the card. And these go right in here. Get those squared up. And this one there. I thought this was very nice, and I needed some masculine cards, and I thought it could go for either or, but masculine would work. So we have a few other pieces, but we do need to do some stamping in a minute. First, we're going to go ahead and mount this one. This is a piece of Misty Moonlight. It's 3 3/8 by 2 1/8. And our DSP is 3 1/8 by 1 7/8. Sorry about the noise. It's very muggy here today, and I've got the window open, but we've had some thunderstorms this morning, so a lot of noise from the window, but it was a little warm in here. So we need that one, and this is going to go here. And then there's another piece of white that is 3 3/8 by 2 1/8. We can mount that one because we're not stamping anything on it. This is for you to write your message. It's going to go right here, and you just put it at the top and center it, and you're sort of lining up with the Misty Moonlight paper. Okay? So far, that's what we've got. And this is the piece that's going to go here, but we're not going to mount this yet because we don't want the bulk inside, and we need to make our front for the card. So it's time to do some stamping. We'll set this all aside for a few minutes. And I think we'll start with getting some white paper. I have some Night of Navy. We're not stamping on. We're going to punch that. We are going to stamp on this is Pecan Pie, because I'm making myself a chocolate malt, one of my favorites. But I think we're going to go ahead and get a mat out here, which has gotten buried, and do some stamping first. So we're going to start with Sweet Sorbet and do our hearts. Like I said, the other items, except for one thing, I already did out of the Sweet Sorbet. But little hearts on the front of our envelope. Also out of Sweet Sorbet, we need, actually, I think I do it right on this piece. We need some strawberry ice cream. So let's do a little strawberry ice cream there. And let me grab my my scrubby, who has grown legs as well. I'm going to clean this off because we need it a few more times. Now we're going to get the pecan pie, and we are going to stamp one of them on white. I'll set that aside, and then we're going to do one on pecan pie. That. And I think we're done with that one. We're not done with the pecan pie yet. And then this large piece, we're going to make our malt. We're still using pecan pie. And we're going to stamp that here. And this is full strength on this part. And then this is the inside piece of that. Ink it up. We're going to stamp off, and then we're going to line it up and stamp it down to give, oh, I got ink on my fingers. It's a good thing we're not using that piece of paper, huh? And we have one more thing to stamp, and we could stamp it right here. And this is our happy birthday, and we're going to stamp it in Misty Moonlight. And we'll put him right about there. So we'll take care of the, excuse me, got a scratchy throat today. Line up this is the oval punch. I've got a white one. I'll just save that for something later. Never throw things away that you could use again. Set that aside. We do need a large, this is Night of Navy, and I need a large outside oval of Night of Navy. And the rest is with die cuts. So I'll move that out of the way and move these. I'm going to trim this off a little bit. so it goes through a little cranky a little easier. Trying to rotate. It says very part. There is a die that cuts out the milkshake. And we'll just slide that up there a little bit, and we can get an ice cream out at the same time. Put a little insurance here that doesn't move on me. And we can stick an ice cream cone, a nice chocolate malt ice cream right there. Yeah, I did the others ahead of time because I didn't think you needed to watch all the tiny little pieces being cut. So there's the base of our chocolate malts. Here's the top of our chocolate malt. And then we need to cut these 2 more times. Wish there had been 2 dies for this particular item, but there was only 1. Strawberry. It can be any flavor you want it to be. The ink's called Sweet Sorbet. We could have raspberry sorbet. Make it anything you want. Sorry about my throat and my sinuses. I don't mean to make a lot of noises. Unfortunately, I have severe allergies in this time of year. And we joke about it in our family. The lilacs are blooming. And I am highly allergic to lilacs. So much so I've ended up in the hospital from it. So I have to avoid lilacs and a few other plants. We refer to, in the house, we refer to them as tree of death for me. Not for everybody else. They're beautiful. I love them from a distance. But there are so many people around our home that have them that it's quite strong right now. So, enough of that. Let's get on with building. I'm going to grab my mat here. So we're going to glue this on first. Let's build these up. Okay, so first is the chocolate malt. And we want the straw in the chocolate malt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the straw and I'm going to start putting it in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here, right on the edge. And then I'm going to put just a tad right there. And then glue that down. And you can push your straw in a little more if you want. I think that's about right. Now my malt needs some whipped cream. Gotta have whipped cream on your malt. So take a little white paper and just cut out a little dob of ice cream or whipped cream to go on my ice cream. Put it up like that. This is why I'm doing this on here so I don't get stuff all over. And then we'll put a little cherry on top. Like that. So that's our malt. We'll set him over here to dry for a few minutes. And then our ice cream bowl. We're going to need a spoon. Like I said, this was out of Smoky Slate, our cherry, and the small dollop. And what did I do last time? I think we'll put this the same way. I'm going to put in just a little bead of glue. Now there is a smaller ice cream in this set. I'll show you. It's this one that actually fits in the bowl, but I like the one hanging over. That's why I'm using it. Now this one, I'm just going to put a little glue right here at the top. Now I'm going to take my spoon in the same hole, because it leaves a little hole. I'm going to put this through here like that. Flip it over. Put a little dollop of glue right there just to hold it in place. Now I recommend you put your straws and your spoons in before you start gluing them down, because it's really hard to put them in the inside after you've glued them down, because they sort of get buried in there. And I forgot the straw in my shake yesterday, and when I make it the first one, I had to tear it apart and do a new straw. Little whipped cream on that one. Oop. And I have a little, you see a little dot there on there? I got something on my white. You know what? That's where the cherry is going. So there's our 2 ice creams. Now let's get the pieces back that we had and move this. And we are going to glue this onto this one here. This is one of the last pieces we're putting down. Now we're going to put these guys up, and we need some dimensionals. Oh, and I get to open a new package of dimensionals. I forgot I ran out. Does anybody else get happy when they get to open a new package of dimensionals? Okay, so I'm going to lay these on here. And I'm going to make sure that they stay inside the dimensions of the card. So about like that will work for me. So up to about this point here, I can put dimensionals. Put one over to connect the ice cream. That's plenty on that one. We'll stick one down here. We know it's going to be low. And I'm going to grab a mini dimensional to put it in the bottom of my bowl. Now this one's going to sit up, so we can go up to about that point right here. So just like 1 dimensional higher. Go ahead and put 3 on there, because this is the only thing holding it on, and 1 little one. So I'll put this one on first. Like that. And you don't have to line up. Now like that. Make sure I'm not sticking over. I'm not. Okay, now we're not done yet. We need to attach, I forgot to attach the spoon, and I want to put a spoon right like that. Get the spoon in my hand the right way. Sorry. Now I put the spoon just like that. That's the extra spoon to eat your malt. And then we need some big dimensionals or some strips, which I actually have another thing of strips here. So we will cut out strips. Work really good as stoppers because it gives you a lot of support, or you have to put a lot of dimensionals on it. But strips work good for this. And that one, and that one, and I need a small thing to go in the center for a little extra support. because this is what holds your card up and you want it to be secure. And this is going to slightly overlap the white. You leave a little border on each side at the bottom. And this becomes the stopper that holds your card, like this. Now, this is where I stopped on the first card. Here's the first card I did. Oh, I bent. That's fine, I just bent it. Okay, this is where I stopped it, except for the Wink of Stella. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. And then I'm going to show you what I had an idea about, and I'm not sure if it's going to work. We're going to find out together. I just put a little Wink of Stella, a little on the cherries. Just add a little sparkle to the ice cream, you know, it glistens. So my thought was, I like both of them, so it doesn't matter which one. I may end up doing it to both of them. I decided that I was going to take my fine tip glue. What I want to do is I want to hold this flat. I don't want it moving on me. And I won't be able to open this one up again. But I want to hold it down so it's flat. And what my thought was that, especially not so much on this one, but on this, if I took, you know how your water, you get those water droplets on, you know, sort of your glass sort of glistens. I thought, oh, I put some over here too. You know, they start running down the cup. I was thinking that when it dries might look like water droplets coming down the glass in the bowl. So I'm going to let that dry a little while, and then I'll take pictures of it standing up. But we have to leave it flat. If you don't, the glue will run, and we don't want the glue running. But this is what the card looks like when it's standing. And I will wait an hour or so before I take my pictures of these to post them on the thing so you can see them completed with the dots. And if it turns out well, I may do the other one before I take the picture, because I think I'll leave one down and one up. I'm not sure. But something like that. But I just thought putting some dots on there might give it some glisten. And you can see it. I'll hold it this way. You see how it looks like water? So, but I want it to stay flat. So we're going to leave it just like that for the next hour. I'll dry it, and then I will take pictures of it. So it's Friday. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a good weekend. Everybody remember, it's Mother's Day on Sunday. I know I haven't figured out what I'm going to get or do for my mother for Mother's Day yet. So I'm going to have to really start thinking. Now, this is Thursday before, so I have tomorrow and Saturday. But I know it'll be something nice. So everybody out there, have a good day. And every mother, have a good Mother's Day. And I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.